Oh, I can't believe I am doing this. So, hello. It's been a very long time. This is the first video that I um, work on in quite a bit of time, but not only that, this is the first time that I sit at my tarot desk in a year. Um, and I feel like a lot has happened in that time. But I took a break. I took a break from everything. I feel like I stopped doing all the things that made me me at that time. I wasn't working out. I stopped working out. I stopped yoga. I stopped meditating. I stopped bike riding. I stopped journaling. I stopped tarot. I stopped dating. I stopped everything. And I just let go, which was really hard. It's hard to let go of the person that you feel you're supposed to be, but I let go of everything and I let life kind of happen. I let the universe steer me where I needed to go. And things just kind of happened. Let's see, what have I done in the last year? I took a lot of time. I watched a bunch of K-drama. So that was super fun and interesting. I've always loved like international movies, films, dramas. Anything with subtitles is always a lot of fun for me. But Korean drama just hit on a different level, and I feel like maybe that is what I needed at that time. And so I watched a bunch of drama, and I started to think about other things, right? Like I started to think about how much they care about their skincare, and I started thinking about products. And then next thing you know, I was trying to take some time to devote energy towards me, like my skincare, my routine. What did it look like? It was non-existent at the time. I just took a lot of time to work on that. I tinkered with makeup, which was a lot of fun, and I've never done that before. I always kind of wanted to be that girl that that did her makeup every day, but it was fun to actually like do it and experiment and learn, and have different episodes of trying and failing before finding success. And then one day I was thinking about freedom and what that means to me, and I jumped into the world of my finances. Next thing you know, everything that I was doing was related to something or other in terms of how I could prepare for my retirement. I started to realize that I wanted to retire early. I had over the years put some pieces into place, but hadn't really followed through on anything. And next thing you know, I was consuming tons of YouTube again, but not tarot tube. I was consuming videos about budgeting and about finances, personal finances, and about investing, and what an index fund was and how that was different than a mutual fund, and retirement accounts and 401ks, and what is a high yield savings account, and just all the things. I went through everything. I was learning a lot and I was really enjoying it. And one day I was looking at my feed, and out of nowhere, I have to say, the universe, I saw a video from Marlene, and she was talking about tarot burnout. And it was interesting that that video should show up in the middle of all my other finance videos. But I put it on and I listened and it resonated with me, and I could feel what she was going through because I felt like I was going through some of that. And next thing you know, I was pulling out all of my decks and thinking about what am I going to do, from here on out. I haven't touched any of my decks. I have so many that are still brand new in boxes, and I started to realize certain decks that I was obsessed with adding to my collection, I no longer felt that passionate about. And so I went through this process of kind of deciding what I wanted to keep, what I felt like I couldn't part with, and the in between. And so I thought I would take you all along the journey and kind of show you what I'm dealing with here. So give me a second and I'll flip you guys around. I used to always think that I didn't have a problem with tarot, but now looking at my decks laid out like this, I realized that things were getting out of hand, and quickly, I might add. Okay, so right off the bat, I think I'm gonna start with a deck that I don't even put away. It just lives on my desk, and the intent obviously was that I would always use it. And I keep it with its partner stone. Oh, look at that, it made an indentation in the card. Anyways, you will probably be familiar with this deck. There's something about, I love this card. There's something about the artwork in this deck that I was really drawn to, and I actually traded a deck for this one, and I was so happy with it, and I enjoy the artwork. The colors are so beautiful, and I haven't, like I said, I haven't touched any of my decks for a really long time, but this deck is one that without a doubt, I don't even have to think about it, it's just not going anywhere. And like I said, I keep it like right on my desk. This is Shimmering Veil Tarot. Next deck will be one again that a lot of people know and love. This is a deck that I loved it and I didn't love it. Like, it was really hard to explain, but it took me so long to try to connect with this deck and understand it on a deeper level. There were certain cards that I struggled with in this deck, but over time it just became such a great deck for me. In fact, majority of the time I use this deck for work-related questions. When I am wanting to do a little bit of exploration with my career and next steps, I find that this deck is perfect for that. And I can't imagine at this point in time trying to let go of this one in my collection. So this is the Sakurai Beetle tarot, or we call it the sassy tarot. It is quite sassy. But a great deck. And I don't even put this deck away. This lives in the tarot box right here on my desk. Another deck that falls into that same category lives in the box. In front of me is my Tarot of Mystical Moments. I just can't even describe what happens when I use this deck. I refer to this deck as a soul deck. It feels like so unlike anything that I would like, but I just adore it. And I've used this deck in a variety of different ways. I decided to go with the female kings in this deck, which surprised me because as soon as I got it, I had kind of mentally made the decision that I would use the male kings. But once I got it into my hands and I started working with it, I realized that I needed to use the female kings. And this is probably the only deck that I have that I at times have been called to shuffle in reversals. This is the only deck right now, they're all right side up, but this is the only deck that I have shuffled in reversals and read with reversals. Typically I don't read reversals, but for some reason this deck has called me to do that, and so I just kind of follow along. I love this Six of Swords. So many cards in this deck that I just love. So that is the Tarot of Mystical Moments. I'm gonna move on to this deck here. So this is the Wandering Spirit Tarot. I never remember its official name because I always call this my Skelly deck. This was a deck that I got on Kickstarter, and I don't even understand. Usually I like bold, vibrant decks with a lot of color. This is pretty monochromatic. In fact, the colors that you see here on the box are the colors that you'll find in the deck. But when I saw this artwork, I just knew that I needed this deck. I mean, look at that 10 of Cups. It's just, when I use this deck, it speaks to my soul. I use this deck for ego work, actually, because it's just so perfect. And I got it on the Kickstarter. I got the accompanying book that came with it that is just absolutely beautiful. This deck, I can't imagine parting ways with it. I don't see it very often in the world of tarot tube online, but this deck for me is just something really special, and I adore it. So that was the Wandering Spirit Tarot. This next deck is quite unique in my collection. I got this most beautiful bag to go with it, and I look at the card backs. It's just the most perfect match. What do you think? And I keep it with my moss agate. I do keep a pendulum in here, and I also have my moss agate cube. These are the stones that I keep with it on a regular. And this deck, the reason I keep all of this in here is because I like to refer to this deck as my adventure tarot deck, which is hilarious because I have hardly ever used it in that capacity. But I remember watching Candy's video and how she takes her decks out on these glorious adventures in a little box, and I just think to myself, like, Oh my gosh, I want to be like Candy. I want to go on adventures. And this deck just felt like the perfect deck. And when you see, you'll know why. Like, it's just, look at this Hermit card. No figures in this deck, yet somehow each card, Knight of Pentacles. I mean, hello? Each card conveys, you know what. Look at this for 8 of Cups. Like, I can't imagine the figure like moving through here, trying to get from one end to the other. It's just incredible. I love this deck. I take it with me when I like to take this when I go on hikes. I took this deck with me to Arizona, and it was pretty spectacular to have this deck out in nature. Look at this Wheel of Fortune card. I don't even know how I found out about this deck, but somehow I knew that I needed it. I think I ordered it on Make Playing Cards. I don't remember, but it's just so beautiful. And look, I actually got to go here. I had this deck and I was here in this location. I mean, it's incredible. This deck is pretty awesome, and again, this is a deck that I can't even imagine parting ways with at all. I want to say this is called like Naturescapes Tarot. Gosh, I'm terrible. I don't remember the names of my decks. I just know that I love them. Gosh, this deck, I mean, hello, look at the bag. So cute. Moonlit Fae bag. It was perfect for the deck, which, you know, you see the card backs and you immediately know what's coming. It's upside down. Okay, there you go. Oh, perfect for the first card. This deck is so fun and special, and you would think like, oh, it's so cute, it'll be perfect, da, da, da. But it gives some hard hitting messages, things that you need to hear and think about in a completely different way. And I always feel with this deck, like, you know, when you talk to somebody and they say something and you're just kind of looking at them like, was that supposed to be sarcastic? Or are you making a point? Like, what is going on? That is how I feel when I work with this deck, because it just says things on a completely different level. That star card is just beautiful. So yeah, a deck that I can't imagine like not having in the collection or parting ways with. So as you could imagine, culling was going to be a challenge for me, because, you know, even though I haven't touched these cards, you know, in a year, there are some decks that I've just made such a connection with that I just can't imagine them not being a part of my life. Again, at this point in time, because everything changes, as we'll talk about a little bit later. This deck, this is also a deck that I kind of refer to as a soul deck. And I actually bought this one, actually traded for this one, because I wanted the Awakening edition and it wasn't available on her site. But I knew that I was drawn to this deck, but because of the colors. So look at those beautiful pink edges. And the cards in this deck are a little bit bigger. Very special, very quirky, unique artwork. But I've always enjoyed working with this deck. I don't know if this deck would be one that will stay in my collection long term, but as of right now, this is in the stay pile, because I don't have anything else that's like, I mean, look at that Devil card. Do you see, like, she's in the cage she has the key, but she doesn't know it because she's blindfolded. Her wings are like, oh God, so good. So yeah, I love this deck, and right now it's staying. It's staying. So that is Ember and Aura, the Awakening edition, because the other edition has like more, I guess like more muted colors. I'm not sure. I know that when I saw it, I was like, no, I prefer this colorway better. This deck is the priciest deck in my collection to date. The Illuminated Tarot. This is, I think, like my only RWS, because I got rid of the other versions that I had. But this deck is, should I say, a masterpiece? I love this deck. First of all, the cards are plastic, so you can see they're, you know, they're bendy, which makes this deck perfect for, you know, being outside, near a pool, near water. You don't have to worry. I do take this deck to the beach a lot because I don't have to worry about it getting ruined. I love how Carol has reimagined the colors. These are all hand painted, by the way. She takes such a long time to work with you, understand what your wants are, and to build the perfect deck. And I felt like this size was the perfect size for me. It's just a hair smaller than standard tarot size, and I loved the and I'm sure this one has a version name that of course I can't remember, but I just knew that I had to have it because I'm drawn to cool colors, like, so those blues and, you know, purples, greens, I love them, and this deck has so much of that, so I just needed to get it. So it's my only RWS, and this will stay in my, and you know, she made this bag and she included it with the deck. Isn't it beautiful? I love it. So that is the Illuminated Tarot. And you're probably thinking like, oh, are you gonna get rid of anything? Yes, I am. This is no stranger. This is the Shadowscapes Tarot. This deck has a story. This deck has been through so much. I mean, I don't know if you can see, but like, I had to tape the box back into place to get it to stay. And I edged the deck. You could see there's clearly an issue with warping. And what happened was I got this deck from a fellow tarot reader in France, and it was damaged in the mail. And so when I received the deck, it was completely soaking wet, saturated by water. The cards had almost fused together. When I separated them, some of the artwork chipped off, some of the titles came off. I was heartbroken. I didn't know what to do. You can see here the damage on the wheel card, but you know, not just the wheel card, many cards were like this. But I don't know how to describe. Somehow I wanted to revive this deck, and so I poured my heart and soul into it. I took all the decks individually, I laid them out, I dried them, I ironed them, I tried to like set them out with like a heavy item for months, just trying to like get it to you know, resemble somewhat of a deck again. And I just couldn't part with it. And you could see like when I ironed this one, it got like an air bubble because I left the iron on for too long. I couldn't get rid of the deck, and other people were like, dude, just throw that away. Like, That's just insane. But I couldn't. And then when I use this deck, I just feel like this is another one. Like you could see the bubbles. I don't know if you could see them in the video, but here you can see them for sure. Anywho, when I use this deck, it is so chatty. It's like it wants to talk. It wants to hang out with you, tell you all kinds of things. This is like, you know, that girlfriend that you have that won't shut up and always has something to say, never gets tired, never boring. So yeah, I can't imagine, like, after everything I went through to save this deck, I can't imagine parting with it. Next one in my keep is the, I don't know if I'm gonna say this right. I don't know if it's Kai or K. Kai Tarot Love. This deck, oh, so look at that. The creator, that was so cool. This was such a cute deck. I mean, I always wanted this in my collection, but this was around the time that I was starting to feel like I needed to pull back. I needed to you know, really condense my collection, and so I didn't do it, and I actually received it as a gift from a very dear friend that I met in I like to call it tarot school. I had registered for Sadhana's tarot classes, and yeah, so it was gifted to me, and I just love this deck, and I haven't used it as much, but this is a deck that, again, because of the artwork, and it speaks to me in a certain kind of way that I'm not ready to separate from this deck. I love it too much, and we still have a lot of work to do together. So this is one that will stay with me in my collection. Look, over time it has, look, there's a little bend. It's bent, but it's okay. It's okay, I still love you. All right. That's the Kai Love. I don't know if it's Kai Love or, no, I always call it Kai Love. Kai Tarot Love or K Tarot Love. All right. I mean, what can I say? I actually won this deck. And you know, I'm one of those videos like, I never win anything. But no, I won this deck on Instagram. And this is the Pastel Kitty Tarot Rainbow Edition. So freaking cute. This is my only RWS clone. And it's perfect for my needs. Very easy to read with. So cute. I just love everything about it. The pastel colors, just, I know it says pastel, but some of these are a little bit more on the vibrant side, which of course I love. But these characters, they're so cute. Look at the eight of pentacles. I mean, it's so cute. This is easy deck for me to work with. A perfect deck when you're feeling lazy, when your inner child needs a hug. I didn't grow up with any of this stuff. I didn't grow up with almost anything. So as an adult, to have a deck like this in my collection is just so perfect and soothing and healing for me. I mean, Three of Swords. It's just awesome. So that is my Pastel Kitty Tarot, the Rainbow Edition. Or maybe that's why it's a little bit more vibrant, because it's the Rainbow Edition. I'm not sure. But yes, and thank you to the Instagram creator that I won the deck from. Now, those are all the decks that I have in my keep. Now I'm gonna start showing some decks that I have worked with, but I don't know, I'm not 100% sure what's gonna happen next. So I'll start with the Sufi Tarot. To say that I had an obsession with this deck would be an understatement. I just needed to have this deck in my collection. Like, I was just obsessed with it. And you know, it was a little bit different. Look at that. Like, it's just so perfect. The artwork was different than what I was used to. I love the theme of the deck and the messages, and I don't know, looking at it and like listening. I listened to the creator so many times talking about, you know, her inspirations for this deck and how it came to be and why she decided to put the kings into a frame, and why there are items from within the portrait that stick out from the frame. Like, it was just, look at that 10 of staffs. So good. So good. Oh, and followed by the 10 of cups. So good. So you know, I used this deck maybe a handful of times. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about it. So this is a deck that I will have to play with some more before I decide, you know, if I'm gonna keep it or if I'm gonna let it go. So that is the Sufi Tarot, and that is in my maybe pile. Other deck, I have this in my maybe pile, but I'm like leaning towards keep. First of all, look at this bag. Hello. It's so beautiful. This is, of course, the lovely Om. And again, different than the other decks that I have in my collection. I love this. The cardstock in this deck is just so yummy. I really liked the art in here. This is a deck that I was influenced to pick up, and I got it, and when I got it, I decided it was a good ad. But again, I've only used, look at that 5 of Swords. There's something piercing about this image. God. 9 of Cups. So beautiful. But anyways, I knew that I wanted this deck, and I definitely feel like I have to do a little bit more work with it in order to decide. But I'm definitely on this one leaning towards a stay. So that is the lovely Om. So lovely. I mean, when you see the bag, you'll know. You'll know. I just don't know. Like, I love this movie. I love this movie. So I got the deck because of my love for this movie. And I have enjoyed using the deck. There's a lot of references to the movie, and although it's not a pip deck, sometimes it kind of feels like one, right? This is probably the closest to pip that I have, that I'm considering keeping, only because, I mean, it's perfect for spooky season, for Halloween, although Dark Mansion is my go-to, and I did add a collection or a deck to my collection for spooky season. So this one kind of like I'm on the fence on, and I think the only thing that's making me think twice about it is the fact that this combines just a little bit of Christmas, you know, and I don't have any decks with Christmas presents or any kind of tree, but you can see like most of these cards lean towards the spooky, you know, towards Halloween, but there are a few cards, you know, that are more, but you can see here, see, 7 of Candles, 6 of Candles, they're pretty similar. So I wish they would have done a little bit more, but I knew this going in when I bought this deck. I knew that this was a complaint, you know, for the team that puts these decks together. But I decided to get it because, you know why? Because A friend of mine has a local bookstore and I wanted to go and support her store. And when I got there, with her religious background, I was surprised and shocked that she was carrying tarot decks. And so I decided to show my support and pick up the deck. And that's how I, ended up getting this. I mean, look at that. I don't have any decks like this. This is probably the only Santa Claus in any of my decks. So I don't know. I'm on the fence on this one. I don't know what I'm going to do. So that is Nightmare. But, like I was obsessed with it because obviously if I bought it a bag, that means I was thinking of keeping it. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens with this one. I may work with it in October and then, kind of decide from there. This next deck is a deck, I don't know, again, it's like the Lovely Ohm. Like I'm kind of leaning towards yes. I don't even know why it's in this pile, to be honest with you. But this is my Mermaid Tarot. I don't even know if that's the official name for it, but when you see it, you'll recognize it. This deck, I had the other mermaid deck, the Dame Darcy. I had that and it was meh for me, and I ended up rehoming it and picking up this one instead, and I liked it, but I think I only, again, like this was right before my pause, and at the time I went from like solidly using a deck for a full month to just 2 or 3 card draws a month, and so I did not dedicate the time that I needed to dedicate to the deck in order to bond with it, and I think that's why it's sitting here in the I don't know what I'm gonna do. So this is a deck that I definitely need to work a little bit more with before I make any decisions. So Mermaid Tarot. I mean, that might actually be the name. I don't know. I can't remember. This deck, Phantom Wise, Lord, I don't know how to describe. Like, I saw this deck. I became obsessed with it. I don't even know why, because I don't like monochromatic or black and white decks. So literally this is the only deck in my collection that is black and white, and because of that, of course, I had to go ahead and edge it in red. The card stock on this deck is something I just can't seem to like. I don't know if I love it or hate it. It's like the fakest linen. It's this weird finish. Look. I don't know. Sometimes sounds like that are like ASMR for me, but in this case, not really. But there's something so whimsical about this deck. Like, look at this. It's very reminiscent of Alice in Wonderland. I find all the cards to kind of be like that, and some of them are pretty unique. And so I did use this deck for quite a bit of time, and I enjoyed it. And again, it's the only black and white deck that I have in my collection. But I feel like, I could hold on to it. I'm not 100% sure, because what else I added to my collection is this one, Cirque du Tarot, which I haven't even opened yet. So once I work with that Cirque du Tarot deck, I feel like I will know or have a better idea if I'm gonna keep this deck or if I'm gonna part ways with it. So right now, this is in my, I don't know, pile. And that was all of them, and what's left now is a big hodgepodge of decks that are new that I haven't even used. And I'll start with the one that I just kind of showed you, Cirque du Tarot. I got this deck. I don't even know what I was thinking that day. I don't even think I flipped through the cards yet. Look, it's still there in order. I haven't even touched it yet. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. This you know, eventually I'll have to like work with them and decide to keep them, or possibly even just rehome them without even using them, because again, like some of these I don't understand what my obsession was. Now this other deck, brand new, hasn't been used yet. I was obsessed with this deck, with the art, for a very long time. So this is a deck that I will want to work with before I make any decisions. I know for a fact that this deck I will want to play with. And I originally had, I don't remember the name of the other deck that I thought would be great. And then I just couldn't bond with the cards, and I rehomed it, and I decided to get this one instead. But I feel like this might be a great deck in terms of it's a little bit darker than anything else in my collection. So this might be nice to play around with. I'll show both of these together. This is tarot and oracle. I ordered these on a Kickstarter. Again, haven't opened them, haven't used them, haven't tried them out. I just thought they were whimsical and fun, and you can see there's a theme. I like whimsical, I like fun, I like bold colors, I like watercolors. This isn't a watercolor, but I just thought these were really fun, and since the Kickstarter had included the oracle, I decided to go ahead and get both. But again, I haven't used them, so I don't even know what's gonna happen. This, I think these came with that Kickstarter. I haven't even used this. I think this might be part of the Creatures Tarot. I think the rewards, the alternate cards. So I'll just put those together. Now this deck, I don't even know. Unfolding Path. I ordered this on a Kickstarter. It immediately went into storage. I just, you know, like, I think that's as far as I got with opening it. I felt like this deck competed with my Light Seers, and I ended up rehoming the Light Seers deck. Actually, I gifted it to someone who was just, you know, brand new starting with tarot, and I thought the Light Seers deck would be perfect for that, and I kept this one. But honestly, I don't even know if I feel like working with this deck. I don't know why. I feel like I might want to just list this one with the rest of them in my eBay store. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with this deck, and I don't have to decide right now. That's there. Oh Lord. Gaian Tarot. I wanted this deck so badly. You can see I removed the packaging, and I opened the deck to check it, because the first time I ordered this deck, it had a rubber band on the inside. For some reason, the rubber band snapped, and then it caused indentations in the card, which ruined it for me. So I ended up getting the deck again. So you can see the plastic is still on. I just opened it to make sure that there was no weird damage, and then I set it aside. But this is a deck that not only do I need to work with, but like when I got this deck, I knew that I would have to trim it, and now I'm looking at it and I'm like, do I want to do that? Like, I don't know if I want to do that right now. So I don't even know if I'll use this deck. I may just rehome it. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do, but that's what happens when you just let yourself go and you decide that you need to have every deck that everybody else has, and it's just foolishness and insanity. 2 more Kickstarter decks. This experience probably changed how I felt about Kickstarters, and it was the last Kickstarter that I did. No, I take it back. It wasn't the last Kickstarter that I did, but it was definitely the last deck that I received. This is the longest wait I've ever had, and now that I have it, I don't even know if I want to go through it. And now that I'm looking at it like this, I find that there could potentially be a lot of similarities between these decks. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I feel like when I get to this part in my collection, when I talk about the decks that I love, like that's easy. But when I get to this part that I don't know what to do, that's when I get overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. And I don't know why I did this to myself. Why did I order 1,000 decks? This was the last Kickstarter that I did. Still in the package. The Only Dreamer Tarot. And these were the extra cards, the expansion pack that came through the Kickstarter. I remember loving this art. I remember thinking it was different than anything else I had in my collection. And now all I'm thinking is I don't know what to do. So, Lonely Dreamer. This deck here, Tarot of the Strange Branches. I think this is my only foreign deck right now because I did have another deck that was French and I recently sold it. This deck I ordered from Amazon France. It came with the bag. Here are the cards. I actually did a video for this deck. And I took it with me on a camping trip and I went through all of the cards. Obviously there's some extra work in this one because the fact that it's not in English. So even though I went through this once, I would have to go through it again and kind of refamiliarize myself with it. But I remember being obsessed with this deck. It's, it was a mass market deck. And the price was reasonable when I picked it up. At the time, it wasn't available anywhere, which is why I ordered it in Amazon France. And I added it to the collection. Oh, look, it's still in order. It's still in order. It was. Not anymore. I'll fix that. But anywho, a deck that I need to work with, and since it's already opened and I did take this with me on a trip and I bonded with it, I think that I will devote some time to it. That's, the least I could do until I figure out what my next steps are. And I was thinking, like, if you guys have been with me this whole time, thank you so much, because this turned out to be much longer than what I thought it was going to be. So I'm sorry about that, but we're almost done. This deck. This is the only deck in the never used collection that I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that I'm going to keep. So I just have it in this collection or in this pile to remind me that I need to. And I bought, again, I feel like when I see a deck that I love, I have to go ahead and get the bag for it. And this was a reimagined version of the Saki Saki. I Am the Artist. And, at first when I saw this deck, what was the name of that Australian YouTuber, Katie? Oh, she was so good. I think she was the first person I ever saw show this deck. Is this even in order? No, it's not. I must have shuffled it. Okay. So let me share a few of the cards. When I originally saw this deck, I was like, what the hell? What is that? But I was like, hell no. But then at the same time, I was like, oh my God. I didn't know what to do. And then when she reimagined the deck, she added, because I guess originally a lot of these figures were headless. So when she reimagined, this is one of the extra bonus cards in the deck. When she went back and she reimagined the deck, she added heads. Like, so here, for example, you see a floating head there. So once that happened, I felt differently about the deck, and I was like, oh, I want this. I want to put this. Is like the funnest thing I feel like I have in my collection in just a different way, because I have other decks that I feel like are a lot of fun, like that pastel, you know, kitty and the dark mansion, but this is just very unique, very quirky, you know, super interesting artwork. Again, different from anything that I would ever, you know, pick for myself. So this is a deck that I know for a fact that I will keep, even if I haven't even used it yet. Just basically flip through the decks and shuffle it and said, you're mine. That's the Saki. And the last deck that I'm gonna show you is literally the last deck that arrived earlier this year. Oh, my Bohemian Gothic. I wanted this deck so bad. I kept waiting and waiting and waiting. In fact, I pre-ordered this right at the beginning of this stage that I was heading into of not wanting very much to do with tarot anymore. Even though I felt like that, I still pre-ordered this deck because I wanted it. I knew I wanted it. You can see it's still sealed. It comes in this beautiful box, and it's just something special. My first and only Baba Studios deck, and I am looking forward to opening this and playing with it in October is what I'm thinking. So that is it, you guys. Ooh, thank you for staying with me throughout the end. I felt like I really needed to do this because somehow, like, if I talk it through or say it out loud, then it makes more sense and I can process things better in my mind, and it solidifies. So that, you know, there was a couple of decks that I felt like, oh, as I'm talking with you today, that I'm like, oh, these are in the wrong pile. So it helps me in such a great way. So thank you. I know this was a long one, but I appreciate you being there and listening. And that is all for today, friends. Thank you so much and many blessings. Bye now.